All right, hey, quick video for the Thule lock cores, how to change almost, now take that with a grain of salt, almost any of these to code it to whatever key you have by just changing out the wafers in there. So let's get to it. All right, so this lock core happens to be N057. I got it on a second set of bike racks to make an extension. That's a side note, but I already have like 6 that are the N114. So of course that's not going to work. So you'll see right here that I'm already taking out some of these, and I've stopped here. So this last one, you can see it still has the spring in it. It's still springing up. And so notice that this section with these squares at the top, so that square right there, this right here, this is the top section because this is where the springs, and you can see the little springs right here, very small guys. That is where those springs drop in, and then the wafer comes in on top of it. And you know, the spring hits the bottom of this, and this is what pushes it up, if that makes sense. So each of these wafers, right? Let's zoom in. So you can see the wafer right here. The spring goes along that side, and so the side that has this hole, this nub, this design element that's out here, that goes to that side. So I'm gonna go ahead now and let me zoom back out for you. Okay. Let's see, can you see? Let's go to right here. Also, I had these in order. Okay, so to be able to get these out, they can't go out that way, so you're going to come to the bottom side, right? And so this bottom side, there we go. This bottom side on each of those edges doesn't have those squares on the edges, right, that they can fall down into. So I've got just a ordinary, screwdriver set. I just got an ordinary flathead, and I've also got this little guy that works for those springs. So literally all I do, and see how I'm resting on something so there's space below and not very much force. That's it. And so then it pops through. And so now this guy will come out, and then you can see the spring in there. To get him out, you can either try and dump it, but I just use the screwdriver. So, okay. Now, second part. So the part that you probably care about, how do you actually move these wafers around? So here's the key piece. So if you look at all these wafers, the distance, where's a good one to show you? All right, so this one. So see right there. And get the focus. All right, okay. So if we look at these, the distance between the very bottom and then the top here, so that distance right there is different than here, and that is what makes the difference. And the key comes in and it hits the top of this. So how are we gonna get this to work? So I already had this in here because I know it works. So it comes in. Remember, I got that kind of dimple section that's pointing away from me. Put it right here. I'm not gonna go hard. Press down. Okay, snaps in. You can see it works. All right. Okay, so this is how you're gonna figure out if it works. So pull all of them out. Take your key that you want to use. Slide it in right here, and then notice. Let me get to focus again. Okay, notice right here, you can see the shadows, but you can see what is high and then what is low. So that's a low one, this is a high one, that's another high one, that's a low right here. And so that means on the high ones, I'm gonna want a really thin section of one of these guys. And then for the lows, right there, I want that guy who's a little bit more thick, right? Yeah, so let's see how this guy's a thick one, but honestly, you don't have to remember all this. It'll just save you a little bit of time if you know the principle of how it works. But honestly, you can just start sliding them in there. So what I did, right, now remember this is the bottom, so I've got to flip around, come to the top, and I've already messed around with this, so I know the order was like this. So I had, okay, you can see this one was a pretty thick one. Dimple goes to the square side, okay. There we go. Okay, and make sure it's all the way through. You can see right here. Let's get it to focus again. Okay, you see it's coming through, right? Okay. So now, it shouldn't require much force. It goes in, right? You can see that. Okay. So now I'm gonna do the second one. Dimple goes away from me. Okay. I've made sure that it's coming through in the bottom there. Okay, awesome. That one's good to go. That one's in. And yeah, remember I'm not putting the springs in because I'm just testing. Okay, so now the best way to test, right? So see those are all the way bottomed out. This is the best way to test. Now we're gonna flip it so that the bottom is to the top, and I'm gonna put the key in. And this is what we're looking for, see that? They're all level, whereas before when I had this wrong key in, because this is the 114 on a 057, it wouldn't do this. So flat there. Now, since the springs are in, it drops in, but if I push it flat here, you can see it's flat there as well. So awesome, right? So yeah, you don't need anything crazy, no tools and whatnot. So this is awesome. And the nice thing then is this gives you another layer of protection, because since these are custom done, anybody who has an 057 key, this is gonna work now anymore, right? It's gonna only be a 114. So technically gives you a little bit more security if somebody is using their own Thule keys to come. Is it extra security a bunch? No, just a little bit. But anyways, it doesn't hurt though. If they look at it, they wouldn't be able to know why it's not working. So anyways, there you go. That is how you use any existing one. Now, here's the, what do you call it? The exception, right? So if you have some of these wafers, I learned this, and I took it to one of my locksmith guys, and I realized I can do this easy. Looked up a YouTube video on how to pull them apart. Anyways, he had to leave one of the wafers out. So the combination of wafers, right, depending on what your key is like, maybe you don't have the right wafers, so you can always take a wafer out. Is that a little bit less security? Yes, but honestly, nobody's going to be, breaking through unless they're trying to drill through or whatever. But I would be absolutely surprised if you can't totally get it to work with 3 or 4 wafers instead of all 5, if you happen to have, a combination of wafers that don't totally match your key. So there you go. Hopefully this helps you out and saves you a few bucks.